your girl Brain Shanae, and today is my Stop for Hero Voices book tour, and I'm going to be doing a book review for Goddess Crown, and this is by Shade Lapite. I love this book. But before I get started, I would like to say thank you so much to Hero Voices book tour for letting me be a part of this amazing book tour and for letting me read this amazing book. And also, I would like to thank the author as well for bringing this into the world. I needed this. This book was a breath of fresh air. So, anyways, let's go ahead and get started with this book review. So, this is a book, beautiful book. I love the cover, by the way. Love it, love it, love it. And the main character is Calothea, and that's how Calothea or Calothea. And she is a girl who's been raised in a forest. She's raised by teacher, by her aunt, by auntie, and then by Claret, and then you have Nahir, who is also like her protector. And he is the son of Lord Godmain. I think that's how you pronounce his name. And so as she is being raised in this forest, she's learned how to fight and defend and fend for herself. But mind you, since she's been raised in the forest, she has no idea of the outside world or anything about it. She's mostly naive about it. And the only thing she knows is that her family, her mother and father left her in the care of teacher, auntie, and Claret and Nahor and stuff like that. She had no idea about, the background, her family background, her heritage, anything whatsoever, until one day she turned 16. And that's when things began to change, and it made a complete turn. Now, mind you, as you're reading this, it's really fast paced. We have a really good introduction of the kingdom of Gala and of the main character, which I love. And then it goes straight into action, where she turns 16, and literally on her birthday, that's when things just start changing for her, and her life is just flashing between her, it's just her life is changing. Let's just put it that way. Her life is completely changing. And so with that, she wants to leave because when she turned 16, she was like, okay, I need to leave this place because I want to know more about the world. And I also want to find my family. I want, more about my mother and father. As that night, as she leaves, that's when she gets attacked by multiple people, and Claret is there to save her. Next thing you know, Claret is dead. And so Calothea, she did this because she was trying to find her parents, but at the same time, she's dealing with loss already, and so she goes back to her home that she was raised in, and she ends up finding that the people that raised her are killed, and were killed in the most brutal way. And of course, she's completely upset. And so her and Nahor, Lord Godmain's son, they end up leaving, and they go to a place where they're trying to figure out certain things, why she was attacked, yada yada yada. Next thing you know, she thought she lost Nahor for a moment, and then she had to venture out for herself and put two and two together. And literally when she ended up at Port Caspian, that's when she was able, all the things that she was taught, someone told her that it was all a lie. And literally the king, of the kingdom of Gala, he had passed away. And Lord Godmain, who is Nahor's father, literally tells her, you are the king's daughter. And she was confused because she thought that her family are the people that ran away from the king because of how twisted and how cruel he ended up becoming and unpredictable. So that's why they took her away from the kingdom and the palace in the first place, because of him. But that was literally her father. I was blown away with that. And I'm sorry, this is spoilery. I'm not going to say more about it. I'm not going to go more in depth into it. But literally all those things about how she grew up and stuff was a lie. So you can only imagine how overwhelming that would be, even for anyone, to realize you were told your father and mother are pretty much alive still, or have a possibility of being alive, and then you find out that the king was your father, and then your father executed your mother because of rumors of her being unfaithful. And so literally she's pushed into the lion's den with politics And with that, like with what she went through, it reminded me of like a game of like Game of Thrones in a sense, where people are trying to get, trying to find a way to gain the throne since the king passed. And then out of nowhere, his daughter shows up. And in my head, I'm like, okay, the people that attacked her, they're amongst those lords because their eyes are on that throne. And at first she's like, I don't want it. I really don't want it. Why would I want the throne of the person that killed my mother? I just want to live my life. I want to be able to finally make a decision of the life that I want to have and to make my own choices. And so she's literally pinned against the wall. And, Lord Godmain saying, you are the rightful heir to this throne. And of course, the other lords, they're completely against it. They're like, oh, so the king is dead, the prince is dead. And now all of a sudden, he has a daughter. Like, where is she coming? Like, where did she come from? Even though deep down they knew that she was alive. That's why they sent people over to kill her in the first place. But we're not going to get into that. But they were pretty much telling her, like, well, you know what? To prove this and this, that you deserve to even be part of the court, even though rightfully so, the throne is her birthright. They're like, okay, you have to get this Kerrigan egg or whatever that's in these caverns by herself. So she's in this palace, not knowing anyone, not knowing who to trust. And, she thought she could trust Nahor, and then come to find out she heard him speaking to someone, and she thought that he said how he truly felt about Calathea and that she was only a task. But we're not even going to get into that. And so she, in her head, deep down, as she was in this palace with a new surroundings and new people, a lot of people were starting to come to her and explain to her about her mother and how she was. And her mother was just beautiful and was just a wonderful person. And the king even loved her to death, like worshipped her. And so the people that knew Calathea's mother, they were very surprised that the king had done this to Queen Sylvia, her mother. Because, and it's funny, like, if you think about history, even like real history, like this is a fictional story, but just regardless of how, if somebody is in the ear of the king is eventually going to think that way about that person, and then you want to execute them, which literally happened to Calathea's mother. But Calathea was ending up finding people, and people were approaching her about her mother. And deep down, I think Calathea really realized, like, these people here are really trying to take my power away from me, my crown that is rightfully mine. So this motivated her to do what they wished, to do what they asked of her, to prove herself, to prove her worth. And I feel like at that moment, we realize that Calathea is ready to bring it on. She's not letting no man take her power, take her crown, take her throne. Because that was another thing in this book, is because this is a hierarchy. And so the men think that a woman cannot rule. Well, they're completely wrong. So literally, I love the fact that Calathea, even though she has gone through so much loss, and realizing that she's been lied to her entire life, she stepped it up. And she's like, all right, I'm going to do this. And I'm going to know who really got my back, who is really there for me. And I think she ends up figuring out certain players, like who's part of her team and who's against her. And I loved every single moment of this book, which I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, if y'all cannot tell. It was fast paced. I feel like I was able to have a connection with Calathea, because even though, I'm not a queen or a princess or whatever, she dealt with so much loss, which I feel like a lot of people, they've dealt with loss. And now it's, how do you honor the people you lost? But yet and still, even though she's trying to figure out, okay, I'm still going to take my power back, she's still trying to have justice for the people that she loved and that was brutally murdered. She's still pursuing that. She still has a main goal, because the throne, that's one thing, but getting justice for the people that she lost is her number one priority, mind you. But this girl is amazing. And I love the pacing of this book is not even that long either, but within it you get a lot. And also, guess what? She pretty much has a pet companion, Yeye or Yee. It's her pet monkey that's always with her. And I'm like, oh, she has a pet, like has a little companion with her. I love that. So she also has a pet monkey, which I thought was cool. And then we find out that her mother had a pet goat at one point in time, which I thought that was pretty cool. But yeah, this was such an extraordinary book. I'm excited to read some more. I'm excited for what's to come, because this was just beautifully done. And even on the back it says, in this thrilling Afro fantasy, the first set in the lush opulent kingdom of Gala, a girl raised in secret must leave her sheltered royal home for the subtle dangers of the royal court, which that's what she steps into, the lion's den. But overall, 5 out of 5 stars for Goddess Crown. I loved every single moment of it. I found nothing wrong with it. I love the pacing. I love the writing. It kept you wanting to read more. It was such a page turner, because every single chapter you're learning more and more about not only the Kingdom of Gala, but also each and every different character that is introduced in this book. We get to know about Calathea. We get to learn more about the lords and the different territories of the kingdom. We get to learn more about Calathea's mother's friends that were with her, were amongst her prior to her being executed, and others that were being banished before Calathea's mother was killed. So I highly recommend this book if you want something like, it's fantasy, but it's more than that. There's romance as well in it. I loved it. And she's just, Calathea, I like her. I like me some Calathea. I ain't gonna lie. Like, she was just, I loved it. I loved it. And I loved how the people that raised her in that forest they prepared her, fend for herself, to hunt, to fight. Yet, no, she didn't know about the world, but that was something that she had to learn herself, and she had to pretty much adjust to the world as she took it by storm. But yes, I gave this a 5 out of 5 stars, and I really enjoyed it. Shade Lapite did a fantastic job writing this book, and I cannot wait to read more. And yeah, this was just amazing. And even if, let me just read the synopsis just to even intrigue you even more. It says, Calathea has grown up in the shadows of her kingdom, hidden away in the depths of a great forest after her parents were exposed as enemies of the king. Raised in this woodland idyll by kindly caretakers, Calathea can hunt and fish and fend for herself, but has little first-hand knowledge of the outside world. When assassins attack her home on her 16th birthday, she must flee to the king's court in the capital city, a beautiful but lethal nest of poison, plots, and danger, overseen by an entrenched patriarchy. Guided by the goddess herself, can Calathea navigate this most treacherous of places to find her own role? What if she must choose between her country and her heart? Excitement, romance, and a charismatic heroine shine in this first book set in the unforgettable kingdom of Gala. But I'm not gonna say more. I know there was a lot of spoilers, but there's a lot more to come. Like, I didn't even get into the gist of everything else. Like, that's only the beginning of what I gave you. Just a little, like, the beginning. There's still a lot more that you gotta find out. But in order to find out what happens, you gotta read it. So please make sure you pick it up. This book is fantastic. I loved every single moment of this book. This book comes out September the 12th. So definitely pick it up when it comes out, or you know what, you can always pre-order it. But that is it. That is my book review. I'm not going to rave any more about it. I want y'all to pick it up and read it for yourselves. And, if you end up reading it and you do read it, show me, tell me in the comments, and, how you liked it. If you liked it or you loved it, let me know. But that is it. I really hope you enjoyed this book review, and once again, thank you so much for Hero Voices book tour, for allowing me to be part of this tour. And once again, thank you, Shade Lapite, for this amazing story and this new world, which brought just brought a breath of fresh air to me. So I really appreciate you and this in this book. It's beautiful. Love the cover. Cannot wait to read more by you. But that is it. I hope you all, like I said, enjoyed this review and that you picked the book up. And I hope you all are staying healthy and staying safe. See ya.